All right. Get my book. Hey y'all. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Hey, what's up? So I'm super excited, you guys. We're going to start a new series. Hey, Lou. We're going to start a new series in my on my channel, you guys. Hey, Julie. And we're going to start reading the Narcotics Anonymous basic text together, and just kind of breaking it down and just reading it together to hopefully better understand. Hopefully to better understand the disease of addiction. So my name is Nicole, and I'm an addict, and I've been sober since July 13th of 2015. I am currently tapering off of medically assisted treatment, Suboxone, and I've been on that for about 3.5 years, and it saved my life. So I'm so grateful. But there's one thing that I'm absolutely obsessed with, and I love the programs, the 12-step fellowships, any 12-step fellowship really, AA, NA, CA, HA, whatever it is. I love the 12 steps. I think they are amazing design for living. I think that if you are an addict, that you could absolutely benefit from working the 12 steps. And if you're not an addict, I think that you could benefit from working the 12 steps. It's just great. I love the 12 steps. So, in a way to kind of like broaden my knowledge of different programs, I asked I asked you guys if you would be interested in going through this book together with me. And a lot of you were like, yeah, let's do it. Because here on my channel, you guys, on Tuesdays, we do Big Book Study, which is the Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book. And I'm very familiar with that book, and I actually, that's the kind of meetings that I go to are AA meetings here where I live. And I really, really love AA. But I want to be able to, share all kinds of different programs with you. I don't want my channel to just be stuck in one place. So that's why we're going to do this with a whole bunch of other stuff. We're going to learn all kinds of different ways to recover, you guys, and we're going to do that together,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Marissa. Came in yesterday. So excited to start this book with you. Yay, that's awesome. Okay, this is getting me excited. I'm excited too. So that's what the plan is, you guys. We're going to be doing this together. We're going to learn together, read together. We're going to, discuss things. I'm going to let me get my pen because I want to underline stuff. Hey, Nate, do you want me to go in the other room so you can hear better? Or are you okay with me being in here? Okay, I'll stay in here. Okay. So, I'm excited too. So, that's my whole reasoning for doing this is that if we can learn, you guys, okay. So when you're getting sober, there's this thing they say in the rooms that they say, arm yourself with the facts about addiction. Arm yourself with the knowledge about your disease. Because the best way to fight your disease is to know what you're working with, know what you're fighting against. So learning the facts about the disease of addiction is what is going to help us to recover. And that is the whole reason why I started doing these like big book studies, because I want to learn more about the disease of addiction. I want to learn what every person before me has written and thought about the disease of addiction, because through those people's experiences, that's going to help me in my life, in me getting sober. So that's the whole reason why I want to do this. I am in no way affiliated with Narcotics Anonymous. Hey, we see you. I am not like a spokesperson for them. This is not like, anything like that, you guys. I am just simply going through this book, and we are reading and learning together. And hopefully, if you're here and this sounds like something that you would be interested in attending, then that's another reason why I'm doing this, because I want to open you guys up to new experiences and new programs that might help you. So, you know, this could also like get you excited about doing something in your recovery. So that's the whole point of doing this. Let me get this light because I feel like it's kind of dark in here. Okay, that's a little bit better, huh? Okay. Hey Shay, what's up, girl? So I'm just in my bedroom today. Don't mind it. This is my bed right here, and I'm just in this little corner. Nate's over there watching his shows, and I hope you guys are all having a wonderful Sunday. I have been chilling. Me and Nathaniel went and saw the Secret Life of Pets 2, and it was so good. And so I've been doing really good on my my calorie intake today. I have been on a streak, you guys. I am just really focused on it. Okay, Nate, guess what? Nathaniel. Nate! I'm going to tell Nate. Nate, your dirt bike is going to be here. I think he went downstairs to go potty. But he's going to be so excited. Yes, I'll email you my address, okay? So that's so cool. I cannot wait. He's going to be so happy. Okay, so we're going to start out. This is what I'm going to do first, you guys. I am going to read the 12 steps to you, okay? Guess what Ian just told me? He got the package. So now I'm going to send him my address, and you're going to get your dirt.
Right now?
It's not going to come today. It'll be here in a couple days, though. This week it should be here. In two or three sleeps, okay? When you come over here and tell him thank you. Hey, come over here and tell him thank you. Say thank you, Ian. You're scared. What are you scared of? He is so excited. Okay. So let's start out. We're going to read.
Let me say hi.
You're going to say hi? Okay, come on.
Or thank you. I don't know.
Come on.
What are they saying?
Say hi, Ian. Thank you.
What are they saying?
They're saying hi, Nate. You're so silly. Okay, I'm going to start out, Nate. If you're not going to come over here and say hi, I'm going to start this meeting. Oh, Ian says, hi, Nate. You're welcome.
What is that? Oh, yeah, I forgot welcome.
Okay, now I'm going to start reading, so be quiet. You can sit right back there if you want to, though. Okay, so here we go, you guys. We're going to start out with the 12 steps. My name's Nicole, and I am a grateful recovering addict / alcoholic. Yes.
Is that?
Oh, no, she's not on here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right, love you. No, don't be hanging on me, son. Now go watch your show. You're doing great. Okay, here we go. So my name's Nicole. I'm an addict, and my sobriety date is July 13th, 2015, and we are going to get busy reading this, you guys. Let's do this. Step 1. We admitted that we were powerless over addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. Step 2. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Step 3. We made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Step 4. We made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Step 5. We admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Step 6. We were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Step 7. We humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. Step 8. We made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Step 9. We made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Step 10. We continued to take our personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Step 11. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. And step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to addicts and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Okay. So, chapter 1 is Who is an Addict? So, that's what we're going to start on. I'm so excited. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to read to you guys the introduction, and then we're going to go into, well, no, yeah, we'll read this too. This is the introduction. This book is the shared experience of the Fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. We welcome you to read this text, hoping that you will choose to share with us the new life that we have found. We have by no means found a cure for addiction. We have only proven a plan for daily recovery. In NA, we follow a program adapted from Alcoholics Anonymous. More than 1 million people have recovered in AA, most of them just as hopelessly addicted to alcohol as we were to drugs. We are grateful to the AA Fellowship for showing us a way to a new life. The 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous, as adapted from AA, are the basis of our recovery program. We have only broadened their perspective. We followed the same path with a single expectation. Our identification as addicts is all-inclusive with respect to any mood-changing, mind-altering substance. Alcoholism is too limited a term for us. Our problem is not a specific substance. It is a disease called addiction. We believe that as a fellowship, we have been guided by a greater consciousness and are grateful for the direction that has enabled us to build upon a proven program of recovery. We come to NA by various means and believe that our common denominator is that we failed to come to terms with our addiction. Because of the variety of addicts found within our fellowship, we approach the solution contained within this book in general terms. We pray that we have been searching and thorough so that every addict who reads this volume will find the hope that we have found. So basically, Narcotics Anonymous is saying, hey, we take the 12 steps from AA, and our program is basically centered around those 12 steps. So just like I've told you guys, like if you go to AA, it's the same thing as Narcotics Anonymous, only it's specific to alcohol. So if you ever are in an area where you can't find one meeting or the other, you can go to either one and we'll be okay. The only difference is that when you go to Narcotics Anonymous, just like they said, you identify yourself as an addict, not as an alcoholic. And that's the only difference. So we'll start out now on who is an addict. Let's do this. I'm excited. Okay, who is an addict, y'all? Me? Oh, hey, you ain't an addict. Who is an addict? Chapter 1, you guys. Hey, Hannah.
Say about me when I said that.
Nothing. Most of us do not have to think twice about this question. Baby, you might just be. We love you, though, okay?
Okay.
You're a toy addict. Most of us do not have to think twice about this question. We know. Our whole life and thinking was centered in drugs. Hey, don't do that right here.
Forgot.
Okay, I love you. Most of us do not have to think twice about this question. We know. Our whole life and thinking was centered in drugs in one form or another. The getting and the using and finding ways and means to get more. We live to use and use to live. That right there. Very simply, an addict is a man or a woman whose life is controlled by drugs. We are people in the grip of a continuing and progressive illness whose ends are always the same: jails, institutions, and death. Just in that beginning paragraph, I have so much to say about it. So, we live to use and we use to live. Oh, that is like so profound. That's exactly what it was like. My life, the only way I could get out of bed was if I had drugs or alcohol. At different times in my life, it would be different substances. For about 2 or 3 years, I would wake up only if I had methamphetamine, and then that passed and I would wake up because I needed opiates, or then I would wake up because I needed cocaine. But it was always a substance that was the center of my life. And if I didn't have that substance, I couldn't cope with life, right? So we live to use and we use to live. Shh, be real quiet tonight, okay? You're doing real good. I can't, but you got to be quiet while I'm reading, okay? Take your handcuffs and go play in your room if you want to. There you go. Good boy. Okay, so let's go on down the paragraph. Those of us who have found the program of Narcotics Anonymous do not have to think twice about this question, who is an addict? We know. The following is our experience, and what's next after this is their experience. So let's read on. As addicts, we are people whose use of mind-altering, mood-changing substances causes a problem in any area of our life. Addiction is a disease that involves more than the use of drugs. Some of us believe that our disease was present long before the first time we used. Stop right there. Okay. When we use any substance, it causes problem. Okay, here's the thing. In any area of our life. So a lot of the times I think what will happen is some of us will think, well, I'm not an addict. I haven't lost my job. Or I'm not an addict. I still have my children. Or I'm not an addict. I'm not prostituting. Or do you understand what I'm saying? Any area of your life that you are experiencing negative consequences or some kind of difficulties or problem, that constitutes, I'm an addict. Okay, and the longer we go on using, the more things that will show up that your addiction will start affecting. But I think that it's that them saying, that it affects any area of your life is important, because some of us, when we first get started, we might not be having a bunch of problems. We might not be losing our jobs right away. We might not be, sleeping with people and cheating on our husbands or spending all of our money. But that addiction it's experiencing, or it is hurting some part of our life. It's affecting some part of our life. And if we're honest with ourselves on the inside, and that's the key here, is getting honest with ourselves, right? That it is affecting some part of our life, whether it be I didn't go to my parents' birthday because I didn't want to show up and my dad to see me high, or my sister graduated and I couldn't make it to her graduation. These are little things that our addiction starts affecting in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Or my car payment and insurance is due and I paid it 5 days late because I didn't have the money at the time because I spent all my money on dope. Do you see what I'm saying? And as the progression goes on, those things get worse and worse. Or I'm wasting time with family by seeking out drugs. Yes, right, exactly. And see, from the outside looking in, or to a person who is addicted but doesn't really realize that they're an addict yet, they will justify and think, well, I'm not doing that bad, right? I'm still successful at my job. I still have a vehicle. I'm still taking care of my children, right? And so these things, hey Jason, these things, we will justify these things in our mind, and that's a way for us to think, well, I'm doing okay, right? I'm doing okay because I haven't lost everything. But I'm telling you guys, you don't have to go all the way down to the bottom to be qualified to be sitting in this room with us today. Okay, so let's read on. Okay, some of us believe that our disease was present long before the first time we used. I truly believe that, you guys, that I have been addicted I was an addict, and it was inside of me before I ever picked up my first drug or drink. Because even in small parts of my life, like as a young girl, I can remember being just overly obsessed with, like I said, my weight. I'm so glad you're here too, Jason. I love you so much, and you always have my support. Anytime you need me, you know that. I got your back. And I do think that the disease of addiction is in us before we ever pick up. And I do believe that when we pick up, that substance sets that allergy off. And that's what wakes up the disease of addiction. I do think that there might be some people who their addiction starts because they got on pain pills or something like that. But I do really believe that a lot of us are born with it. And that we are genetically predisposed to it by like family members or our aunts and uncles or mom and dad that are addicts or alcoholics. And that's why, like, now early on in my son's life, it's so important for me to educate him, you guys, because both me and his dad are addicts, and that could go down to him. So I have to I'm not going to not educate him.
Are you talking about me and my dad?
Yes. Okay, most of us does not consider ourselves addicted before coming to Narcotics Anonymous. The information available to us came from misinformed people. As long as we could stop using for a while, we thought we were all right. Right there. Wow. We looked at the stopping, not the using. As our addiction progressed, circle progressed, we thought of stopping less and less. So the worse our addiction got, the farther and few between those thoughts that I'm not going to do this anymore. I got to quit this. Because what happens is we're blotting out those thoughts. That's that good side of us. Because we're all born, you guys, with a conscience. Something that says, hey, that's not right. The difference between right and wrong. And the farther you progress into your addiction, the more you blot out that voice of reason, right? And so for me, there was no voice anymore. All I cared about was getting high, right? Because I had just stomped that voice out. Okay, only in desperation did we ask ourselves, could it be the drugs? Only when we were desperate. Only when, I had been on a bender for days and days and days and been awake for a week and haven't slept and I'm hallucinating, right? Then I'm like, maybe I do need to stop this, right? And that was like, a couple of years into my addiction, I started realizing that, I'm doing too much. I got to stop this. That's what I will always say, you guys. I'm just doing too much. I just need to limit myself. I just need to chill out a little bit. And that's where the whole trying to figure out that magic combination, right? We did not choose to become addicts. We suffer from a disease that expresses itself in ways that are antisocial and that makes detection, diagnosis, and treatment difficult. So you hear that? We did not choose to become addicts. Right there, you need to put a star beside that. We suffer from a disease, circle the disease, that expresses itself in ways that are antisocial, isolation, and that make detection and diagnosis and treatment difficult. Because a lot of people who have addiction are also struggling with mental illness, you guys. And so what can look like a mental illness could really be our addiction, and vice versa, or us medicating. You know what I'm saying? Our disease, here we go. This is great. Next page. Our disease isolated us from people, except when we were getting, using, and finding ways and means to get more. Hostile, resentful, self-centered, and self-seeking, we cut ourselves off from the outside world. Anything not completely familiar became alien and dangerous. Our world shrank and isolation became our life. We used in order to survive. It was the only way of life that we knew. So in this paragraph right here, it says our disease isolated us. It kept us away from people. And the only time we went around people was when we were trying to find dope, trying to find a way to get high. Self-centered and self-seeking. That's what happens when we're in our active addiction, because all we can think about is ourselves. How we need to change the way we feel, how what's going on in our life isn't good, and that's what we need to do, is get more and more and more. Our world shrank and isolation became our life. All we know is the drug dealer's phone number. We don't have any friends anymore. All we care about is how we can find our next fix. We used in order to survive. It doesn't say we used in order to live. It says we used in order to survive. Because that's all we were barely doing, was scraping by to survive. Some of us used, misused, and abused drugs and still did not consider ourselves addicts. Through all of this, we kept telling ourselves, I can handle it. Our misconceptions about the nature of addiction included visions of violence, street crime, dirty needles, and jail. So a lot of people, this is talking about the stereotyping of how when you're starting out and you're not realizing that you're an addict. I know for me, I thought, I'm not using needles. I'm not homeless. I'm not underneath a bridge with a bag in my hand. I'm not prostituting, right? And so that's how it starts out. Because some people might start out shooting dope and going like balls to the wall right away. But a lot of us work up to that, right? And so that's our way in our mind of justifying and rationalizing that we're not addicted, that we're not that bad because we're not like that person or we're not like this person, right? But in all actuality, all we're doing is lying to ourselves. We are in denial, okay? So that's what this is about, it's about lying to ourselves and being in denial on the inside and thinking, because I'm not far down as this person is, or the person that I see on TV, right? I'm not that bad. I'm not really an addict, right? And we will make excuse after excuse after excuse, you guys, to justify and rationalize how we can keep using, right? And that's what it is. It's misconceptions that people think that you have to be in an alleyway, shooting dope to be an addict. That's not what it is. A lot of people are strung out and are addicts that have houses to live in, great jobs, driving cars, right? That's what happens. When we finally do realize and come to terms with the fact that we are addicts, it's like we're already so far down. So that's what they're doing right here, is they're teaching us right here, and they're showing us, hey, listen, if you're reading this book and you haven't gotten to this point, but you think because you're not there that you're not an addict, listen, because you're headed there. It's not how far down you've gone. It's that you're on your way there, right? Okay, here we go. When our addiction was treated as a crime or a moral deficiency, we became rebellious and were driven deeper into isolation. So, some of the highs felt great, but eventually the things that we had to do to continue using reflected desperation. We were caught in the grip of our disease. We were forced to survive any way that we could. We manipulated people and tried to control everything around us. We lied, we stole, we cheated and sold ourselves. We had to have drugs regardless of the cost. Failure and fear began to invade our lives. One aspect of our addiction was our inability to deal with life on life's terms. So y'all are going to hear this life on life's terms a lot from me, because that's exactly what my addiction was a manifestation of. Absolutely no coping skills, low self-esteem, low self-worth, and it was like the perfect combination of those things combined with the right people that are around and the drugs there too, and it was like, we tried drugs and combinations of drugs to cope with a seemingly hostile world. We dreamed of finding a magic formula that would solve our ultimate problem, ourselves. We dreamed of finding a magic formula that would solve our ultimate problem. Circle ourselves. Because that's what it is. It's me I'm the problem. Inside of me, there's this uncomfortable, unresolved, restless feeling in me, right? And what I have to do is pull these drugs to put them inside me because that makes me feel better temporarily. Temporary relief. And that's what I want you guys to listen and hear. Taking drugs, getting high, eating pills, switching from one thing to the other, it's only temporary relief. If you don't address the problem that's going on the inside, you will keep changing from one drug to the next drug to the next drug until you're stuck with yourself again. Because that's what we're running from. We're running from ourselves. Stop. Wait a second. Look at the man in the mirror. That's what you're running from. And that's what's so hard about it, you guys. It's because we think it's because we can't. We think it's the substances, right? But it's us. It's us. And that's why it's so important for us to work on the healing on the inside, you guys. Because nothing is going to make you feel better, okay? Unless you start working on why you want to get high. Why do you want to eat the pills? Why do you want to take those? What is going on the inside that you're struggling with? Are you afraid? Are you hurting? Are you sad? Are you mad? What is going on the inside, right? Y'all, it took me a long time to realize that the reason why I was eating and shooting dope was because I had shit going on inside of me, and the shame and the guilt from my active addiction and all the things that I did to myself and my life and other people that I cared about, that guilt and shame was so heavy on me, all I could do was get high to blot it out because it drove me insane. I can get up today and I can look at myself in the mirror and I am happy and content and I know that I'm doing the right thing today. You know, and that is relief in itself for me. Being able to be my son's mother is a huge accomplishment for me. And that right there is one of the best rewards that I could get out of recovery. But I'm telling you right now, I worry about you guys, some of you, because the thing that it is, there's something else going on below the layers. And I can't get to some of that for you guys. You know what I mean? What happens is you have to just get honesty, and the just getting down to the problem has to happen. You know, and I can't pull that out of you. I can encourage you to like talk about it and try to work through it, but I can't pull that out of you. So that's why I just try to be here for you guys and tell you, I'm here for you. I love you. I'm going to support you no matter what. You know, if you're struggling in your recovery and you want to get high, you need to think about it. Why do I want to get high? What am I struggling with? What is going on inside of me that is making me want to reach for something to change the way I feel, right? And really, really think about it. That's what it is, Jason. It's peeling back layers, right? It's like an onion, they say, right? It's not easy, you guys. It's not hard, but it takes work. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to be able to just sit here and through osmosis get recovery, right? We're going to have to start really working on what's going on, talking about how we're feeling, being completely honest and transparent. You know, I want to get high today. I want to use. Why? Because I'm pissed off. What are you pissed off about? My brother pissed me off today. What did your brother do? Well, he called mom and told her that, you know, I was da-da-da-da-da. Well, okay, not a big deal. What's more than that? What's underneath that? Well, my brother always goes to my mom before I do. Like, you see what I'm saying? And let's get down below that. Okay, I'm jealous of the relationship that my brother and my mom have together. You see what I'm saying? I have a resentment towards my brother because he's closer to my mom. And I'm just using this as an example. I don't have a brother. But you understand what I'm saying? It's like, there's more to it, and you got to, and sometimes it takes somebody else going, okay, so you're mad at so-and-so. What are you mad about? And then you say what you're mad about. Okay. What is more than that? What does it really have to do with? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. And it's like lower and lower. That's why with that worksheet, Jason, that you're doing for your fourth step, that's why when you're writing all that stuff down, then we're going to talk about it. And we're going to go through it, each person, one by one by one by one. And we're going to get down to the real reason. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, baby. Okay. So, okay, here we go. It's exactly that. We're archaeologists. Yes. The fact was that we could not use any mind-altering or mood-changing substance, including marijuana and alcohol, successfully. Drugs ceased to make us feel good. Okay, so it says right here, drugs stopped making us feel good. We were no longer getting relief. That's what the hard part to deal with is, you guys. It's when you're first getting high and you're enjoying drugs. Krissy, you know what I'm talking about. And everything's fun and games, right? Drugs make you feel good. Drugs make you feel relaxed. Drugs make you have fun. But what happens when they stop working? That's where we get to the turning point. And it's like this substance that I've been using all along to get relief from. Hey, Nick, now I'm not even getting relief from it. Now it's just like I'm just doing it because I don't know how to do anything else, right? And that's what it is. The drugs stop working. And when you cross over that line where you're just using because you have to maintain, that's no way to live. I don't ever want to have to go back to that life where I'm using because I don't have a choice. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like I have to do it because I don't know any other way. Drugs stopped making us feel good. They stopped working. At times we were defensive about our addiction and justified our right to use, especially when we had legal prescriptions. We were proud of the sometimes illegal and often bizarre behavior that typified our using. We forgot about the times when we sat alone and were consumed by fear and self-pity.
Oh my God.
We fell into a pattern of selective thinking. We only remembered the good drug experiences. So this selective thinking, you guys, I talk about it with you guys all the time. The euphoric recall. We only remember the good times produced by drugs and alcohol. The parties, the fun, the kicking it with our homies, all that good stuff. We don't remember the fear, the doubt, the misery, the loneliness. Yes.
Can you come with me to put some pajamas on?
Yeah, let me finish this up, baby. We don't remember all the horrible sadness that we feel, you guys, when we're sitting in our room alone, when we have no friends, when we're just by ourselves and we can't stand to be alone by ourselves. You guys, can y'all relate? No, baby. Can you guys relate to when you can't stand to be alone with yourself because you're just so sick and tired of being sick and tired? So sick and tired of killing yourself. So sick and tired and overwhelmed with not being able to live life like a normal person, right? It's like, I remember sitting alone. Neil was, I don't know if he was here or not, but I was alone in the room. And I was just like, I can't even function on a normal level. I can't even hold a job. I can't even drive my car without driving it into a brick wall. I can't even have a child without hurting my child. You know, like I'm worthless. That's how I felt. I'd gotten to this point where it's like, I'm no good. I'm not even good to myself anymore. We only remember the good drug experiences. We justified and rationalized the things that we did to keep from being sick or going crazy. Okay, baby. We ignored the times when life seemed to be a nightmare. We avoided the reality of our addiction. Higher mental and emotional functions, such as consciousness and the ability to love, were sharply affected by our use of drugs. Living skills were reduced to the animal level. Our spirit was broken. The capacity to feel human was lost. This seems extreme, but many of us have been in this state of mind. I don't think it's extreme at all because I've totally been there to where I couldn't even get out of bed to take a shower. Nate, please stop. I couldn't even I couldn't take care of myself. I didn't have running water. I didn't have freaking electricity. And I used to have to go outside and dig holes to go to the bathroom because I had nothing, you know? And that's what it got to that point, to where I was just an animal, basically. Yes, I had toilet paper, baby. We were constantly searching for the answer. Oh, listen. We were constantly searching for the answer. That person, place, or thing that would make everything all right. We lacked the ability to cope with daily living. So that's the second time it has talked about lacking the ability to cope with life. So that's important. As our addiction progressed, again, the word progressed, many of us found ourselves in and out of institutions, rehab, jail, hospitals, in and out. These experiences indicated that there was something wrong with our lives. We wanted an easy way out. True that. I wanted an easy way out, and I tried every other way to get sober except for work the dang 12 steps. I tried everything, you guys. Some of us thought of suicide. I've been there. Our attempts were usually feeble and only helped to contribute to our feelings of worthlessness. We were trapped in the illusion of what if only, and just one more time. When we did seek help, we were only looking for the absence of pain. We had regained good physical health many times, only to lose it again by using. Our track record shows that it is impossible for us to use successfully. No matter how well we may appear to be in control, using drugs always brings us to our knees. Like other incurable diseases, addiction can be arrested. Okay, listen. Like other incurable diseases, addiction can be arrested. We agree that there is nothing shameful about being an addict. Yes.
I'm just looking at the little pink things that you're drawing.
Okay. We agree that there is nothing shameful about being an addict, provided we accept our dilemma honestly and take positive action. We are willing to admit without reservation that we are allergic to drugs. Okay, this is some good stuff right here. Let's underline this. Okay, let's go back a little bit. So, like at this right here, like other incurable diseases, addiction can be stopped. Okay?
Like this.
We agree that there is nothing shameful, no shame about being an addict, provided we accept our dilemma honestly and take positive action. Action. We have to take action.
If we're arrested again.
Arrested. Go ahead. Like that. Positive action. And that's the thing, you guys, like, we can want all day long to get sober. I used to want to get sober so bad. But until I took the action and listened to what someone else told me to do, took suggestions from someone who had been sober longer than me, and actually did what they asked me to do, I was struggling for so long. And I finally had to start listening and taking some suggestions, you guys. It really is that simple, but we make it so hard. Because just like it said at up here, we wanted an easy way out. Okay? We wanted to do it on our terms. We wanted to find our way to get sober. But the thing about it is, if we could have gotten sober on our own, we would have done it a long time ago. That's the thing. If we could have done our own way, it would have already been done. Do you feel what I'm saying? Here's another really good part. We are willing to admit without reservation. that we are allergic to drugs without any second guesses, without any, oh, maybe not Xanax, maybe not cocaine. I'm just allergic to methamphetamine and heroin. No, honey, no. Everything without reservation. Because what will happen is you go out there, you take that other thing that you don't think you're allergic to, and that will lead you back to your DOC, heroin. Okay? That's what will happen every single time. It might not happen right away. Okay? It might take a couple times. But that's what addiction does. It tricks you. And it makes you think, oh, I can handle this. I can just take Adderall to study, right? I just need to stay up a little bit so I can study, get these finals done. And you might take Adderall a couple times and get your finals done and be just fine. But what happens is that gives your mind permission to lie and keep the secret. And those secrets are what keep us sick. And that sets that whole cycle in motion. That's why we have to, without reservation, know that we are addicts and we are allergic. And we can't be taking that shit into our bodies. Common sense tells us that it would be insane to go back to the source of our allergy. Yeah, like if you're allergic to bees, you're not going to go walk into a beehive. If you're allergic to peanuts, you're not going to ask for peanut butter on your sandwich, are you? But leave it to us drug addicts. We're allergic to heroin, but we think we can go back out to hang out with our old friends who are still shooting heroin. Common sense tells us that it would be insane to go back to the source of our allergy. Our experience indicates that medicine cannot cure our illness. So right here it says, our experience indicates that medicine cannot cure our illness. So when I talk to you guys about medically assisted treatment, and I tell you, we have to come to terms with the fact that Suboxone, methadone, Vivitrol, these medications are not going to cure our addiction, right? These are tools that we can use in the process to get... Be careful then to get better, okay? But these are not cures to our addiction. Let me kiss it. You okay? Let me see it.
I did it all the way under here.
Okay, Sonia.
Can you come with me to pajamas?
Okay, hold on, baby. Although physical and mental tolerance play a role, many drugs require no extended period of use to trigger allergic reactions. Our reaction to drugs is what makes us addicts, not how much we use. Do you hear that? Our reaction to drugs is what makes us addicts, not how much we use. So it doesn't matter if you are a heavy hitter or a lightweight. That doesn't matter. You're still an addict, okay? It's not a competition here. We all need to realize that we have a sickness. It has said it over and over and over again in this book so far. The disease. That we have a sickness, you guys. Many of us did not think that we had a problem with drugs until the drugs ran out. Even when others told us that we had a problem, we were convinced that we were right and the world was wrong. We used this belief to justify our self-destructive behavior. We developed a point of view that enabled us to pursue our addiction without concern for our own well-being or well-being of others. We began to feel that the drugs were killing us long before we could ever admit it to anyone else. We noticed that if we tried to stop using, we couldn't. We suspected that we had lost control over the drugs and had no power to stop. So this is when a lot of us come to the realization that, hey, maybe I do have a problem. When the drugs run out and then we're not feeling well or we're dope sick or we're having a hard time, right? Then that's the thing. It doesn't have to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? And that's what this book is trying to tell us, is that we don't have to get to the point where you're physically dependent on heroin or other drugs to know that you're an addict. Certain things followed as we continued to use. We became accustomed to a state of mind that is common to addicts. We forgot what it was like before we started using. We forgot about social graces. We acquired strange habits and mannerisms. We forgot how to work. We forgot how to play. We forgot how to express ourselves and how to show concern for others. We forgot how to feel. That is everything I did, you guys. I could not do it unless I was high. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't hang out with my family. I couldn't take care of my kid. I could not function without drugs because that was my normal. That was my baseline, right? While using, we lived in another world. We experienced only periodic jolts of reality or self-awareness. You hear that? Only periodic jolts of reality and self-awareness. So we're in a whole nother world, a whole nother land somewhere else. It seemed that we were at least two people instead of one. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They talk about this in the big book of AA. Two people instead of one. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We ran around and tried to get our lives together before our next run. Sometimes we could do this very well, but later it was less important and more impossible. In the end, Dr. Jekyll died and Mr. Hyde took over. Each of us has a few things that we never did. Okay, listen up. Each of us has a few things that we never did. You know that list. We cannot let these things become excuses to use again. Some of us feel lonely because of differences between us and other members. This feeling makes it difficult to give up old connections and old habits. We all have different tolerances or pain. Some addicts needed to go to greater extremes than others. Some of us found that we had enough when we realized that we were getting high too often and it was affecting our daily lives. Okay, so this right here is talking about how each of us has a different rock bottom, right? Just because I went to prison and was shooting up and lost my son doesn't mean that you have to go to that length before you get sober. And just because you didn't doesn't make you any less of an addict than me, right? We're all addicts. And that's what this is saying. None of us are different than the other. None of us are unique, right? Because that's one of the problems that a lot of us will have is we will go into these rooms, you guys, and we will think, well, I'm different. I'm different than all these people. I'm not like them, right? Or I haven't, or and even for me as a needle user, well, they don't know how it is. They haven't ever shot up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter. Just because people didn't use needles doesn't mean that their addictions were not severe. Doesn't mean that they were not struggling, right? But a lot of the times what will happen, you guys, is because we get into these, like, it's almost like human nature, I feel like, to kind of like click up or kind of, you know, even in the rooms of addiction, right? Even in the recovery rooms. Like, I know, I feel like that sometimes, but that's the thing. Every person's life is so different that what's worse for somebody else is it could be totally different than what Krissy's worst is, right? Krissy's worst could be like needles on the side of the road, prostituting, right? And that could be the worst ever. But Jason's worst was him being addicted to Percocets, right? And using other substances and being locked away in his house and not feeling like he could ever leave, right? And being sad and just hurting on the inside. But those are two totally different ways to be addicted, but they're both very serious. Nobody's addiction is better or worse than the other. But that's what your disease wants you to believe, Krissy. It wants you to believe that you're different, right? And that nobody's going to be able to understand you, and that you can't find the help that you need here, right? That's what I always struggled with also, is that for some reason I thought that because people didn't go to where I went in my addiction, that they weren't going to be able to understand, right? But I'm going to tell you guys, my sponsor is an alcoholic. She's never shot anything. And I have gotten more help from her than I've ever gotten in my whole entire life. So it's just what it is it's the relatability. It's being able to relate to each other, that desperation that we have. Because when we're hooked on a substance and we can't live our lives without it, that's a desperate feeling to have. And that's what this whole program is centered around, is one addict helping another addict and that relatability, right? Right, Amy, we do. We all feel that our hole is the deepest. It's the, and that's the thing. We could sit here and we could trade war stories and we could one up each other all day long, right? I mean, there's some of you guys that could probably go on and on and on with me that have, or probably trump me, that have been down farther than I have, right? But the thing about it is, it's like, we don't want to live like that anymore. And we're trying to find recovery today. And so if I can find somebody that I can talk to, that can understand where I've been, even if they haven't gone the same places, that desperation of being on hooked on drugs and not being able to stop, we all know what that feels like. Can we agree to that? It doesn't matter what your route of administration was or how long you were addicted. We were all stuck. And that's the hard part. And we can all relate on that. That's what brings us together. Is that because y'all, there's people that are addicted to pills. There's people that are alcoholics. There's all kinds of different ways. Because you get your drugs from the pharmacy, you are no different from someone on the streets. Just where I got my drugs was just a cleaner floor. Yeah, it totally doesn't even matter, right? And that's another thing that I've seen them talk about in here, just like the page before this, is that a lot of times, because we're on substances that were prescribed by the doctor, that's a way for our mind to justify and rationalize that we are somehow, not as bad, right? But it's all bad. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think that we can all agree that it's all bad. It all sucks, right? It all sucks.
Mommy?
Yeah.
Onyx is crying.
Why? Oh, it's fixing to rain outside. That's why.
No, I think he wants my dad.
Okay. Each of us has a few things that we never did. We cannot let these things become excuses again to use. Some of us feel lonely because of differences between us and other members. Okay. This feeling makes it difficult to give up old connections and old habits. We all have different tolerances of pain. Some addicts needed to go to greater extremes than others. Some of us found that we had enough when we realized that we were getting high too often and it was affecting our daily lives. At first, we were using in a manner that seemed to be social or at least controllable. We had little indication of the disaster that the future held for us. At some point, our using became uncontrollable and antisocial. This began when things were going well, and we were in situations that allowed us to use frequently. This was usually the end of the good times. We may have tried to moderate, substitute, or even stop using, but we went from a state of drug success and well-being to complete spiritual, mental, and emotional bankruptcy. We may have, underline that, you guys. We may have tried, how many of you guys have tried to moderate, substitute, or even stop using, but didn't succeed in that, and then completely crumbled to emotional and spiritual and mental bankruptcy? I tried every way to change the way I used around, to change what substances I used together, to change who I hung out with, because of course it was them who was getting me caught up, right? What else have I done? I just won't get high before I go to work, right? That's what it is. Or I'm just not going to drink and drive. Or I just have to stop mixing benzos and opiates. That's why I keep on overdosing. Right? This rate of decline varies from addict to addict. So right here it talks about, is saying that it's different for all of us, right? How fast you go down is different. Each of us is at a different pace. Whether it occurs in years or days, it is all downhill. Ooh, I like that. underline that too, you guys. Whether it occurs in days or years, it's all downhill. Just like we were talking about in the last big book study we did. It doesn't matter, you guys. Uh-oh, hold on. Nate, what are you doing? Please stop.
What?
Stop.
My dad?
What matters is that you're on your way there. So that's what this is saying. It's saying it doesn't matter how long it takes. It's all the same direction. It's all bad. It's all drug addiction. It's all coping with life with substances. Those of us who do not die from the disease will go on to prison, mental institutions, or complete demoralization as the disease progresses. So if you don't die from the disease of addiction and you continue on in your addiction, you're going to either go to prison, a mental institution, or completely lose all dignity, respect. I mean, it's just the complete demoralization, losing all your morals, all your values, anything that ever mattered to you, right? That's what happens. When our disease keeps going and we keep on feeding it, we don't try to stop or, get sober, that's what happens, you guys. That's what happens. We lose everything that ever mattered. And I'm not talking about material things. I'm not talking about your house or your car. I'm talking about on the inside. I'm talking about the love. I'm talking about your confidence. I'm talking about your self-esteem. I'm talking about your self-worth, right? Oh, absolutely. Gone, out the window. Finite. I mean, I'm just now learning all about me all over again at 37 years old. I'm 17 years old still, you guys, in my mind. I'm just now learning about Nicole. Drugs had given us the feeling that we could handle whatever situation might develop. Oh, that's right. They gave me that feeling. They absolutely made me feel like Superwoman. We became aware, however, that drug usage was largely responsible for some of our worst predicaments. Some of us may spend the rest of our lives in jail for a drug-related crime. Yep. Let me see when this chapter. Oh, okay. We're going to finish this chapter, you guys, okay? We had to reach our bottom before we were willing to stop. Okay, so put a star beside that. We had to reach our bottom before we were willing to stop. We were finally motivated to seek help in the later stages of our addiction. Then it was easier for us to see the destruction, disaster, and delusion of our using. Mommy, so it was easier to see when you get down far into your addiction. Because like I said, at the beginning, it's all fun and games, right?
You used to draw better stars than that.
Oh. It was harder to deny our addiction when problems were staring us in the face. Oh, that's...
Star.
Absolutely.
See if you can draw a star.
Some of us first saw the effects of addiction on the people closest to us. We were very dependent on them to carry us through life. We felt angry, disappointed, and hurt when they found other interests, friends, and loved ones. We regretted the past, dreaded the future, and we weren't too thrilled about the present. After years of searching, we were more unhappy and less satisfied than when it all began. Our addictions enslaved us. We were prisoners of our own mind and were condemned by our own guilt. Oh my gosh. Highlight that. We gave up the hope that we would ever stop using drugs. Absolutely. I was hopeless. Hopeless. Our attempts to stay clean always failed, causing us pain and misery. As addicts, we have an incurable disease. Let's circle this again, you guys. As addicts, we have an incurable disease called addiction. The disease is chronic. Circle this. Progressive and fatal. It will kill you. However, it is a treatable disease. We feel that each individual has to answer the question, am I an addict? How we got the disease is no immediate importance to us. We are concerned with recovery. We begin to treat our addiction by not using. Okay. Many of us sought answers but failed to find any workable solution until we found each other. Once we identify ourselves as addicts, help becomes possible. We can see a little of ourselves in every addict and see a little of them in us. The insight lets us help one another. Our future seemed hopeless until we found clean addicts who were willing to share with us. Denial of our addiction kept us sick. Underline that. But our honest admission of addiction enabled us to stop using. So when we get honest, that's what helps us. The people of NA told us that they were recovering addicts who had learned to live without drugs. If they could do it, so could we. The only alternatives to recovery are jails, institutions, dereliction, and death. Unfortunately, our disease makes us deny our addiction. Do you hear that? Our disease makes us deny our addiction. If you are an addict, you can find a new way of life through the NA program. We have become very grateful in the course of our recovery. Through abstinence and through working the 12 steps of NA, our lives have become useful. We realize that we are never cured and that we carry the disease within us for the rest of our lives. We realize that we are never cured. We have a disease, but we do recover. Each day we are given another chance. We are convinced that there is only one way for us to live, and that is the NA way. Oh, that was good. So, I hope you guys liked me reading that to you. I feel like it's a lot easier to understand than the AA book because it's written more. It's written. Let's see when this is published. 19 something. I'm sure it's 1970 something or something. Let's see. Okay, copyright 1982.
Mommy,
Okay, so
love you.
I love you too, son. So I highlighted a bunch of stuff in here, you guys. Okay, so did you guys like that? I just want to say a little bit. Our addiction enslaved us. We were prisoners of our own mind, and we were condemned by our own guilt. We gave up hope that we would ever stop using. Our attempts to stay clean always failed. As addicts, we have an incurable disease called addiction. The disease is chronic, progressive, and fatal. So right there, it's telling us we will die if we do not seek treatment, you guys. But if you seek treatment and reach out for help, you can recover. You can put your disease in remission. And you can start living a healthy, happy life, right? Without drugs and alcohol.
You can only
Denial of our addiction is what keeps us sick.
You can only be high.
But our honest admission of addiction enabled us to stop using. We realize that we are never cured and that we carry the disease within us for the rest of our lives. We have a disease, but we do recover.
Mommy,
So, yeah.
can you
I'm done now, son. I finished the chapter, finally.
Can you text Ryan?
Nobody's home, Nate. Now listen.
No,
Stop, please.
Text Ryan.
Okay, I will in a second.
Four of you.
Shh. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. Nathaniel has literally been driving me insane right here, all up in my face the whole time. I love you, son, but I was trying to read and you were just... that was a good... I enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I feel like I understand what they're saying a lot easier, but I love the AA book because I have read it so many times. So this is new for me. So I hope that you guys enjoyed reading that with me. I hope that you heard something that you could relate to. And next Sunday, we're going to do the next chapter together. And if it's longer, I'll half it up. But I love doing this with you guys.
Mommy, did I brush my teeth today?
Yes, you did. Every time I can read and I can relate to something that I'm like, yes, my addiction did enslave me. Yes, I was a prisoner in my mind. Yes, and then I would pile up just more guilt and shame and remorse and hatred for myself. And then I would just go further and further and further into my addiction, covering up and trying to deal with the pain that I was causing myself, self-inflicted pain. Do you know what I'm saying? So I hope that helped you guys. I love you guys so much. And please, if you're struggling, if you feel like you want to get high, you know, email me. We can talk. I love talking with you guys. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. And, you know, getting help will be the best thing that you ever did with your life. So don't get discouraged. Just keep on keeping on. I love you guys, and I hope you all have a great day. Love you, Hannah. Love you, Krissy. Love you, Ian. Love you, Spotted Elephant.
What?
I'm saying love you to everybody. Everybody in here, y'all know I love you.
Why is some people's name?
And sometimes we just need to hear, you guys, that
names animals?
the things that we're thinking in our mind, we're not the only ones that think that, right? Hey, Sonia, love you, girl.
Look at the
It's okay. It's okay. I'm just telling you, like,
can they not see what I'm doing?
we are not alone, and that's what Hannah, Krissy, Sonia, all of you guys need to hear
Tell
me.
them what I did.
You're not alone, and what you feel in your mind is not any different than what I have felt in my mind, right? Don't separate yourself from us. You're just like me. We're all just like each other, right? And I understand what you're going through. Just because I'm not in that madness anymore and I'm not struggling right now, doesn't mean I don't remember what it was like to feel that way. And it doesn't mean that I might not struggle in the future, right? Yeah, we did the NA book. So, please, from now on, this is what I want us to all work on. I want us to work on seeing the similarities in each other, not picking apart our differences and how we're, you know, worse off or better off than the other person. Let's work on seeing the similarities that we have, and because that will help unite us and bring us together even closer. Okay? I love you guys so much, and thank you for being a part of this meeting with me. And I'll see you guys.
This is what they do when they're doing videos.
Okay. I'll see you guys Tuesday. Bye. Okay, Nate, I have to end the video.